What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. This video I have been wanting to make for many months, but I did not feel like I was educated enough on the events that took place, and the attorneys are under a gag order, and this entire case has gone through a lot of changes. They got a new judge, they changed the venue, and it's crazy because it happened in 2022. November 13th, 2022 is when this occurred. So normally these cases are, if you're lucky, you can get a trial set a year out after someone is arrested, and that wasn't the case with this. So we got a new judge, a new venue, and we got Bryan Kohberger. And in my opinion, and all of this is alleged because this man has been charged with these crimes, but he has not been convicted of them yet. But in my opinion, this man 1000% murdered these 4 innocent and amazing college students. So let's do our rundown like I normally do. We have our defendant, Bryan Kohberger. Here we have our 4 victims: Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Mogen, Zana Carnodal, and Ethan Chapin. This was a complete tragedy and rocked the community to its core. This horrible crime occurred in Moscow, Idaho, specifically on King Road. And another very odd thing about this case is that they tore down the house in which this occurred in, which I just didn't think that would have happened prior to trial. I do understand why people would want that torn down, but it was just very strange to me that it occurred before trial. Also, due to the fact of the brutal nature of the stabbings in this case, it was a weeks long, and I mean weeks, not 1 week, weeks drawn out long investigation before Bryan Kohberger was even arrested. So this occurred November 13th. He was not arrested until in December of 2022. So just to think, being in that community and knowing that there's a serial killer on the loose somewhere, and how unsettling that must be. The killings of 4 university college students in November of 2022 at an off-campus residence, which is what I have up here on the screen, is basically like a 3D model of the home in which the roommates all lived in. It's a very different style build, and that was like one of the main reasons why so many people were like, they tore it down. The jurors being able to go into the home, as unsettling as that is, you get a different feel, I would believe. No suspect was immediately named in the deaths of housemates Madison Mogen, 21, Kaylee Gonzalez, 21, and Zana Carnodal, 20, as well as Carnodal's boyfriend, Ethan Chapin, 20. Nor was a murder weapon believed to be a large fixed blade knife. But the intense scrutiny of the unsolved slaying sparked thousands of tips to the FBI. Then, nearly 7 weeks later, with the community on edge and speculation swirling, who could commit such violence? Ponce announced an arrest in Pennsylvania of a doctoral student in criminal justice. The suspect, Bryan Kohberger. November 12, 2022. Starting at around 9 p.m., Kernodle and Chapin are seen at a party at Chapin's fraternity, a short walk from the King Road apartment house where the roommates lived, according to investigators. That night, Gonzalez uploads pictures to her Instagram account. Featuring photos of the friends, and the caption was, "One lucky girl to be surrounded by these people every day." And I believe that this is the photo that has been plastered all around. At about 10 p.m., Gonzalez and Mogan go to a sports bar in Moscow, the Corner Club. Investigators say Kernodle and Chapin returned to the 3-level house on King Road at about 1:45. So we have Zaina Kernodle and Ethan Chapin, they're the couple. They return to the house first. That's at 1:45 a.m. While Gonzalez and Maddie Mogan take a car ride home, arriving around 1:56 a.m. But prior to that, at 1:30 a.m., they are seen here, and this is the actual footage of them at a local food truck at 11:58 a.m. A 911 call is placed on the cell phone of the other housemates requesting assistance for an unconscious person. Both housemates were unharmed. Let's go ahead and listen to that now.
2022.
911 location of your emergency.
Something is happening. Something happened in our house. We don't know what.
What is the address of the emergency?
1122.
What is the rest of the address?
Oh, Kings Road.
Okay. And is that a house or an apartment?
It's a house.
Can you repeat the address to make sure that I have it right?
I'll talk to you guys. We live at the White, so we're next to them.
I need someone to repeat the address for verification.
The address, 1122 King Road.
And what's the phone number that you're calling from?
What's your phone number?
And tell me exactly what's going on.
One of the roommates has passed out, and she was drunk last night and she's not waking up.
Okay.
Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night. Yeah. Hi, this is.
And are you with the patient? Okay, I need someone to keep the phone, stop passing it around.
Can I just tell you what happened pretty much?
What is going on currently? Is someone passed out right now?
I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m.
Okay, I need to know what's going on right now if someone is passed out. Can you find that out?
Yeah, I'll come. Come on, but we gotta go check. But we have to. Is he passed out? She's not waking up.
Okay, one moment. I'm getting help started that way.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and how old is she?
She's 20.
20, you said?
Yes, 20. Here's one
Okay.
of them.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, I need someone to stop passing the phone around because I've talked to 4 different people.
Okay, sorry, they just gave me the phone.
Is she breathing?
Hello?
Is she breathing?
No.
Okay.
You need to talk to them, okay? I can't talk to them. They need you to talk to them.
Hello.
Okay. I've already sent the ambulance and law enforcement. Stay on the line. If there is a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
Say that again. There's a police here right now.
Okay. If there is a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
We don't have one. I think yes. Do you have a defibrillator? Yes, we have one.
Are you talking to the officer?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to let you go since he's there with you and can help you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Okay.
11:59 a.m. 49 seconds, November 13, 2022.
Police alert the public about the deaths in a news release. And while they say no one is in custody, they do not believe that there is an ongoing risk based on information gathered during the preliminary investigation. Now let's go to November 16th of 2022. With no suspect apprehended, Moscow police walk back previous comments that there was no threat to the largely rural city of 26,000 residents. We do not have a suspect at this time, and that individual is still out there, Moscow police state in a news conference. He adds that there are more than 25 investigators with the Idaho State Police and the FBI are assisting in this case. November 17th, 2022. Preliminary autopsy results show that the 4 victims were likely attacked with a large knife and died sometime after 2 a.m. from multiple stab wounds. Now, this was reported by Layton County coroner, and she described their wounds as pretty extensive. Now, let's go to November 18th of 2022. Police say the victims were most likely asleep when they were slain, and some of them had defensive wounds. There were no signs of any sexual assault. Meanwhile, detectives seized the contents of 3 dumpsters near the home to search for possible evidence, and they contact local business owners to determine if a knife had recently been purchased. November 30th, 2022. A vigil is held at the University of Idaho in honor of the victims with some family members in attendance. We're going to get our justice, Stephen Gonzalez, Kaylee's father says, adding that his daughter and Maddie Mogan had been best friends since the 6th grade, and he had learned that they were in the same bed when they were killed. They went to high school together. They had started looking at colleges. They came here together. They eventually get into the same apartment together, he said. And in the end, they died together. December 1st, 2022, Moscow police reaffirmed the quadruple homicide was a part of a targeted attack after authorities appeared to suggest the opposite. We remain consistent in our beliefs that this was indeed a targeted attack, but have not concluded if the target was the residents or the occupants, a police spokesperson says. The department also continues to dispel online rumors and speculate. The department also continues to dispel online rumors and speculation and says it has cleared certain people seen interacting with Gonzalez and Mogan on the evening that they were killed. Police also say that the 2 housemates who were home during the attack had been sleeping that night. December 2nd, 2022. The 2 housemates, Bethany Funk and Dylan Mortison, released letters saying they are struggling to accept why the lives of 4 beautiful people were taken so brutally. December 5th, 2022. Detectives focus on Chapin's and Kernodle's activities on the evening they were killed, and asked the public for information about the nearly 5 hours from when the couple arrived at the Sigma Chai party to the apartment house on King Road. December 6, 2022, police say they recognize how frustrating the lack of news can be for the families and the public, but insist they do not want to jeopardize the case. And I quote, We are at the point in the investigation where we're still gathering information, we're still gathering tips, we're still gathering evidence, we're still doing everything we need to do, Fry says in a video posted online. December 7th, 2022, police began removing personal items of the victims from the apartment house and returning them to their families. They also announced what appears to be an integral part of the investigation. They say that they are looking to speak with any occupants of a white Hyundai Elantra from 2011 to 2013 with unknown license plates. They do not say whether they believe the driver is linked to the killer, but say the person may have critical information to share. Now, if you have seen the latest Dateline episodes that have come out, then you would know the footage, I believe the Ring camera picked up, of the white Elantra circling around the house, then eventually coming to the house, and then speeding off, leaving the house. And if I can find that, I'm going to plug it in here. Okay, so I think I have a really quick 11-second video. So here we go.
That terrible night, pulling up to the house just before the murders occurred and speeding away after.
His primary objective now is to get out of there.
December 15th, 2022, Christy Gonzalez, Kaylee's mother, which Kaylee was apparently the one that they believe was targeted, that she was the only one that was targeted, and there happened to be more than just her in the bed, and then we'll find out in trial what everything. I'm sure the prosecution has a shit ton of more evidence. So December 15, 2022, Christy Gonzalez, Kaylee's mother, expresses frustration during an interview with NBC's Today. With NBC's Today show that she only learned about the police interest in the Hyundai Elantra when the rest of the public did, underscoring how some victims' families feel left in the dark. I have watched a few interviews with Kaylee Gonzalez's father, speaking about this and about how a lot of things that come out to the public, he's learning at the same time that we all are. And that was his daughter that he lost. So I could 1000% understand and agree with that frustration, because you would think that they would be in the know of everything. That only makes sense. December 21st, 2022. Fry tells NBC News that his department is in daily contact with the families, and I quote, "We ask them to be patient as the investigation progresses. The police chief again insists the investigation is not a cold case, and our end goal is to bring somebody to justice for those families and for those victims." December 30th of 2022, police announce an arrest of suspect Bryan Kohberger. December 30th, 2022, police announce an arrest of a suspect, Bryan Christopher Kohberger, 28 years old, a resident of Pullman, Washington, then at the time a doctoral student at Washington State University. He is apprehended in northeastern Pennsylvania, about 2,500 miles from the Idaho campus, and charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and burglary. According to two law enforcement sources, DNA evidence played a key role in linking the killings to Kohberger. At a news conference, Fry says he believes Kohberger is the one and only suspect. And I quote, "What I can tell you is that we have an individual in custody who committed these horrible crimes," he says, "and I do believe now that our community is safe." December 31st, 2022. The public defender of Monroe County, Pennsylvania, where Kohberger is being held, says the suspect intends to waive his extradition hearing to face charges in Idaho. And I quote, "He should be presumed innocent until proven otherwise, not tried in the court of public opinion," Jason LaBar says in a statement, adding, "Mr. Kohberger is eager to be exonerated from these charges and looks forward to resolving these matters as promptly as possible." Well, trial's coming, Mr. Kohberger. Trial is coming. January 3rd of 2023, Kohberger appears in court and agrees to return to Idaho. Let's go ahead and see if we can get a good perp walk on him. Okay, I did find one. I do want to slow it down. I believe that this was the first one.
How'd you feel it, Bryan? Why did you do it? Are you ready to go to Idaho? Why did you do it? Last time in Pennsylvania, Bryan.
Let's watch that one more time.
Hey, Bryan, why did you do it? How are you feeling? How'd you feel it, Bryan? Why did you do it? Are you ready to go to Idaho? Why did you do it?
And I think I have another one. Here's another good one. Scary looking guy, huh? And let's go here. Oof. He is a creepy looking dude. Creepy, fucking creepy. So January 3rd, 2023, Kohberger appears in court and agrees to return to Idaho, which we just saw. January 4th, 2023, Kohberger is flown across the country in a Pennsylvania State Police plane and booked into the Latah County, Idaho jail, which then leads us to January 5th of 2023, when Kohberger makes his first appearance in Idaho court and is ordered held without bail. Another pretrial hearing is set for January 12th. Investigators say male DNA discovered on a knife sheath was used to link Kohberger to the crime scene, and that they had been tracking his car, a white Hyundai Elantra, and cell phone use in the area, according to a newly released court document, which makes me want to take us to the video. I'm sure this is going to come up as well later down on this timeline, but he actually gets pulled over several times. I think it's like 2 times after the murders. Let me go find those.
I know. Should go on to state police, got your license and registration. When I stopped you, man, when you were driving by me there, you were a little too close to back that semi. Between you and the back of this trailer. About one car going 10 miles an hour, so we're going 60 or 70 miles an hour. About 6 or 7 cars. Oh, you guys did? Yeah. You guys stopped by a trooper? We don't have any SUVs. It was a county guy. Was it like a black SUV? Okay, all right. You thought you guys were following too closely? Okay. Today? Well, I'm not going to give you guys another ticket or warning if you just got stopped. Just make sure you give yourself plenty of room, okay? So like I said, it's all about how fast you're going, okay? So if you're going 10 miles an hour, you only need 1 car now. If you're going, so speed limit here 7. If you're going 70 miles an hour, you need 7 cars. Yeah. That's the easy way to explain it. Right? Yeah. It's really in the B&B meeting, it says 23 seconds. All right, you guys have a safe trip. We're not heading. Thank you so much for this. Where we're heading to? We're at. Yeah, it's a long haul. You guys scared of airplanes? All right, well, hey, you guys have a safe trip.
Hello, I am Officer Loangus. Stops being audio and video recorded. I think you know why I stopped you. You ran the red light.
What actually happened was I was stuck in the middle of the intersection.
Yeah,
so I was
behind you the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So technically, you're not supposed to enter the intersection at all for that reason, because if the light turns red, then you're stuck in the intersection, and then you run the red light. So that's the reason I stopped you. Do you have your license on you?
Yep.
Do you have the registration and insurance?
We just got this for you out.
You what?
I'm just gonna get this out for you.
Okay.
So would you explain that to me a little bit further? So in Pennsylvania, when you're stuck like in the intersection, you have to make the left. So what would the appropriate thing for me to have done been?
Not-
Just
You're
back up in
not
that
supposed to
situation?
block an intersection like that in Washington, so just by you blocking the intersection, that's technically a ticketable violation, and then then you're running a red light, so it's another ticketable offense. So you're not supposed to proceed into the intersection until you can go, because a lot of people do what you just did, right? Is like you're sitting in the intersection waiting, and then turns, and then you're blocking, so.
Yeah, there was a little bit of confusion with speeding because someone had stopped. I wasn't sure what they were doing, and then they put on their light to turn. So I thought that maybe they were letting me go through.
Oh,
Did you see that?
no.
I feel like right before I made the turn, there was someone who like made a right, and they didn't have their signal on, so I wasn't sure if they were just waiting.
Yeah, so I would just advise, just don't enter the intersection until you can go, so you don't get stuck. Let's see.
But in that situation, the best thing to do then would be back up, and not.
I don't know if there's a best
So
thing
I
to do in
could-
that situation, because you're either going to back up into somebody,
Yeah.
or you're going to run a red light. So, or you're going to be sitting in an intersection.
Yeah.
There's not really a great option there.
Yeah, I was just slightly into the crosswalk, so. Yeah, where I'm from Pennsylvania, we actually don't have like crosswalks.
Oh,
So even if
interesting.
you're kind of slightly, there's a little bit more leeway as well. Like there are a few lines, like there's one white line and there's another one in front. Like there's like a certain
Yeah.
margin from which you can actually kind of put your place your vehicle.
Yeah. So I know laws vary state to state, but there is a law in Washington for blocking an intersection like that, proceeding through when you don't, when you're just stalling. I forget the actual verbiage. I can find it for you, but it's like stalling, blocking an intersection.
Yeah, I'm just curious about the law. I don't mean to.
Oh no, yeah, I
I'm
can
not,
find
like,
it for you.
disagreeing with
Yeah.
anything. But,
1 second. That looks good on a Hyundai. I don't see Pennsylvania registration like at all. Okay, let's see. Expires November 22nd, or 2022. Okay. And
yeah, one of those is actually.
yeah, okay, that looks good. I'll hand that back to you. I'm just gonna go check your info. I'll try to find that RCW, the law for you, and I'll be right back.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. So I found it. So I don't know what in Pennsylvania where you go to find laws, but in Washington it's called the Revised Code of Washington. So I'll try to turn my brightness up, but it's just called an RCW. So it's RCW 46.61.202. So it's no driver shall enter an intersection unless there is significant space on the other side of the intersection. To accommodate the vehicle he is operating without obstructing the passage of other vehicles, despite any traffic control signal indications to proceed. So you had a green light, so you're thinking you can go, but you're blocking the intersection. Yeah. So that's, if you're ever curious in any laws in Washington, just Revised Code of Washington. So I'm not writing a ticket or anything like that today. I understand you're from Pennsylvania, but in the future, don't proceed through the intersection. You can't get stopped for that alone, unless you can clearly just clear it right away.
Okay.
So,
So then basically, I understand.
you're just supposed to wait behind the white line. Drivers do it all the time, but
it never even occurred to me that was actually something wrong. But
yeah.
Well, except for the fact that I was blocking the crosswalk, which is what
yeah.
I went through.
And states vary a lot from laws. Like Pennsylvania might not even have that law, but in Washington we do.
I'm actually just from a very rural area, so we just don't have crosswalks.
Oh.
unless I visit an area where there are crosswalks,
Gotcha.
and then it's not very frequent.
Yeah.
I do apologize if I was asking you too many questions about the law. I wasn't trying to
No, not at all. Like, I understand you're not from here, so if you don't, a lot of people don't know a bunch of laws. Like, I only know it because this is what I do. But yeah, if you're ever curious on any more laws, just RCW, and they can be hard to read because it's in like legal language. But hope that helps.
Definitely.
Yeah. Have a good day.
Definitely, you too.
Thanks.
Okay, so then there's another one, which is here, which he was driving from Indiana back to Pennsylvania. And I would play this one, but it is law and crime, and they are notorious for copywriting. So I'll just leave this and I will put it in the description while I get back to more of our timeline. I think that we ended at around January 18th of 2023. A list of items seized from a search warrant from Kohberger's Pullman, Washington apartment is made public. The belongings include a pillow with a reddish brown stain, a disposable glove, and at least a dozen strands of hair. February 28th of 2023. A search warrant for the home of Kohberger's parents' house in Albrightville, Pennsylvania, reveals more items seized, including 4 medical-style gowns. No, I'm sorry. February 28th, 2023. A search warrant for the home of Kohberger's parents in Albrightville, Pennsylvania, reveals more items seized, including 4 medical-style gloves, a silver flashlight, and a buccal swab DNA test. Which, when it comes to like gloves, I think that he did have he does have OCD. I can understand having gloves. But 4 different types is weird. And then a buccal swab DNA test kit. I mean, that's really strange. March 13th, 2023, prosecutors seek DNA from major tech firms such as Apple and Amazon. I'm sorry. March 13th, 2023, prosecutors seek data from major tech firms such as Apple and Amazon, as well as social media platforms and retailers as part of their investigation, according to court documents made public. They also request bank and social media information tied to the 4 victims in order to build a digital picture of the crime and the suspect. Fast forward to April 21st, 2023. Funk, one of the surviving housemates, files a motion to quash a subpoena. I don't know what that means. Files a motion to quash a subpoena that would require her to testify at Kohberger's preliminary hearing in June. While investigator for his defense said in an affidavit that she knows information that would be exculpatory to the defendant, Funk in her motion said that a statement is without support and there is no further information or detail pertaining to the substance of this testimony, its materiality, or the alleged exculpatory information. April 26th of 2023, Funk agrees to interview with a defense counsel according to a court filing, but she won't have to travel to Idaho. May 4th of 2023, newly released police body cam video shows Kohberger being pulled over allegedly running a red light in Pullman, Washington in 2022, about a month before the sentence. That's the one I just showed you prior to this one that I have on the screen that I can't play because it's law and crime. Which is where he, was questioning the officer. It's so weird to hear his voice. It's so strange. It's got to be extremely, I can't even put into words how it probably feels for the victims' families. May 4th, 2023, like I said, Kohberger gets pulled over, in the Washington State University campus. Police let him go with a warning. May 16th of 2023, a Latah County grand jury returned an indictment against Kohberger on the murder charges, paving the way for an arraignment and trial. May 22nd, 2023, Kohberger, during his arraignment, stands silent when asked to enter a plea, prompting Latah County District Judge John Judge, which when we had Judge, it was so confusing. Not confusing, but it was so just like saying Judge. They now have Judge Hippler in a different jurisdiction or a different county. Judge to enter a not guilty plea on his behalf. So he didn't plead not guilty. He said nothing. Which strange. So Judge entered a not guilty plea on his behalf on the murder and burglary charges. A trial is tentatively set for. Now this is an old article because this was set for October 2nd of 2023. And they were talking about seeking the death penalty. So just think, it's 2025. August of 2025. This trial has needed to happen a long time ago, but I'm glad that it's about to see its way. June 16th of 2023. DNA on the knife sheath found at the off-campus home directly links Kohberger to the crime scene, according to court documents filed with prosecutors. June 22nd, 2023, Kohberger's attorney says in a court filing that there is no connection between him and the slain students and that other men's DNA were also found at the scene. His attorney also claims that police investigated various possible suspects, many of whom provided DNA, including at least one who allegedly had his DNA taken from a discarded cigarette, and others who had their phones taken and downloaded, the filings say. June 26th of 2023, prosecutors say that they will seek the death penalty against Kohberger if he is convicted, writing in a court filing that aggravating circumstances and the especially heinous killings led to the decision. Idaho has not carried out an execution since 2012. July 4th, 2023. Some families of the victims speak out against the University of Idaho's plan to demolish the King Road residence before the start of the fall semester on August 21st. The home itself has enormous evidentiary value, as well as being the largest and one of the most important pieces of evidence in this case, an attorney for the Gonzalez family tells the Idaho Statesman. But the school responds that neither the prosecutors nor the defense is objecting to the demolition. July 12th, 2023. Reversing course, the University of Idaho says it will halt tearing down the King Road residence. We know that every action and decision around this horrific incident is painful and invokes emotions, University President Scott Green says in a statement. That is why every decision we have made this far is with the families of the victims and our students in mind. July 25th, 2023, Kohberger's lawyers filed a motion seeking to get his indictment dismissed, arguing that the grand jury was misled as to the standard of proof required for an indictment. They say that the standard should be beyond a reasonable doubt, but claim the grand jury was erroneously instructed with presentment, which they say would mean having a reasonable ground for believing the defendant has committed an alleged offense. August 23rd of 2023, Kohberger waives his right to a speedy trial during an appearance in Latah County Court, where his legal team says it may not be ready for the October start date. A new date has not been immediately decided. His lawyers also say they will file a motion to strike the death penalty and file another motion seeking to ban cameras in the courtroom. speed up to now, which today is May 21st of 2025, we got the cameras in the courtroom. They're going to be there. Are they going to be the greatest? I don't think that what I have seen, what I have read, is we're going to have views of both counsel tables and a view of the witness stand. So I don't think it's like a regular pool camera, which for us true crime junkies, it's kind of like, ugh. But you know what? I'm just happy that we can be in there because I think this is going to be the trial of, dare I say, possibly the century. I don't know. October 31st, 2023, federal investigators returned to the King Road home to gather more evidence and create a replica of the residence that can be used for trial. Now, from what I have seen on the pretrial hearings, and they just had their last pretrial hearing recently, I believe like last week, they are using a 3D dimensional dollhouse since there's no longer the actual house. November 13th, 2023, the University of Idaho marks 1 year since the slayings with a vigil in the victim's honor. December 14th, 2023, Kohberger's defense team is permitted inside the King Road home to gather documentation it needs before trial. Oh, I didn't know that. December 15th, 2023, a Latah County District Court denies the defense team's request to dismiss the indictment against Kohberger on various reasons. Kohberger has failed to successfully challenge the indictment on grounds of juror bias, lack of insufficient admissible evidence, or prosecutorial misconduct. Judge John Judge writes, Kohberger was indicted by an impartial grand jury who had insufficient admissible evidence to find probable cause to believe Kohberger committed the crimes alleged by the state. Details of the ruling itself remained sealed. December 21st, 2023. Latah County prosecutors file a request for Kohberger's trial to be held in the summer of 2024. December 21st, 2023, Latah County prosecutors file a request for Kohberger's trial to be held in the summer of 2024. December 28th, 2023, December 28th, 2023, the King Road house is demolished, despite objections from 2 of the victims' families who say it should remain standing for trial in the event it would help understand what happened. But Latah County prosecutors tell the University of Idaho in an email from December 22nd that the current condition of the premises is so substantially different than at the time of the homicides that a jury view would not be authorized. That the jury view would not be authorized. March 1st, 2024. The Gonçalves and Coronado families released a statement voicing their frustration after a judge at a hearing suggests the murder trial likely won't begin until 2025. April 17th, Kohberger's lawyers file an updated alibi defense saying that the cell phone tower will show he liked to take late-night drives along the Washington-Idaho border, but was miles away when the victims were killed. They say they intend to rely on testimony at trial from cell phone tower data expert. They say they intend to rely on testimony at trial from a cell phone tower expert. May 31st, 2024, a hearing scheduled for June over whether to move the trial out of Latah County is delayed until August 29th. The filing comes a day after another pretrial motion hearing, which Ray testified. June 27th, 2024, the judge lays out a plan that would allow Kohberger's trial to commence in June of 2025. Both his legal team and prosecutors agree. June 27th, 2024, the judge lays out a plan that would allow Kohberger's trial to commence in June of 2025. Both his legal team and prosecutors agree. August 29th of 2024, a change of venue hearing is held to determine whether Kohberger's trial should be moved out of Latah County, but the judge says he needs more time to conduct research before making a decision, which takes us to September 5th of 2024. In new filings, Kohberger's attorneys argue that the state's pursuit of the death penalty violates the U.S. Constitution. September 6th, the judge grants the defense's request for a new trial venue outside of Latah County, but doesn't immediately decide where. September 12th, the Idaho Supreme Court orders the trial be moved 300 miles from Latah County to Ada County, where the state capital of Boise is located. The case is expected to be reassigned to District Court Judge Stephen Hippler. October 8th of 2024, Hippler, the new judge in the case, orders the trial to begin on August 11th of 2025 and says it could run about 3 months, including a penalty phase if needed, which in this case, we're going to need it. November 20th of 2024, Hippler rules that Kohberger may be punished with the death penalty if he is convicted. February 19th, Hippler denies several motions filed by Kohberger's defense to suppress key DNA and other evidence. He also denies the defense's request for a Franks hearing, which is when the defense challenges validity of information used by law enforcement to obtain a search warrant. February 21st, prosecutors say in a filing that the FBI is building a 3D model of the King Road home that would be used for demonstrative purposes to aid the witnesses in their testimony at trial. So this is a little off topic from where we're going on the timeline, but this just popped up on my YouTube on like a suggested video. And this is when there was like a house party at this house on King Road, and the police were called because of like noise complaints, too loud. And what's creepy about this is that this sliding glass door right here is apparently the sliding glass door that Bryan Kohberger got into the house in. And I don't know why that just completely freaks me out. Let's jump back into that timeline. We were at February 19th. Hippler denies several motions filed by, let's jump back into that timeline. March 4th, an unsealed court document by the defense says Kohberger exhibits core features of autism spectrum disorder, and that if he is found guilty, putting him to death would be considered unconstitutional. His lawyers also say his mannerisms in court could be prejudiced. The jury is in arguing his trial should not allow for capital punishment. March 6th, snippets of text messages between the two surviving housemates and 911 transcripts are released as part of newly unsealed documents. The texts indicate confusion between the two housemates, as the others don't respond to text messages on the early morning of the killings, and one housemate says she sees someone in a ski mask. Let's go ahead and pull those up. So here are some of the text. And for the longest time, we didn't have the actual names of the surviving roommates. We just had the letters. So I'll leave these up on the screen while I finish going over the timeline. March 12th, prosecutors say in court filings that Kohberger's defense plans to argue at trial that someone may have planted the knife sheath with his DNA inside the King Road home. Now, my question for that would be, well, then it doesn't make sense to why you were searching and all up in Maddie Gonzalez Instagram pics. There's too many, and this reminds me so much of the Karen Reed case at times, because like there aren't so many coincidences that happen at one time. All right. If you walk like a duck and you sound like you're a duck. Okay. Like that's just how that is. March 19th, new court filings include a trove of new details, including that Kohberger purchased a knife matching the type of knife sheath found in the home, and that he took a selfie after the killings. Prosecutors say that they want to use that photo to help jurors determine whether he matches the description of the intruder. April 9th, in a marathon hearing, Hippler says he must consider several motions that will shape the trial, including whether to allow certain text messages, a 911 call, a 3D model of the apartment house, and the term bushy eyebrows. The defense mentions a tip of an alternate suspect. April 24th, Hippler declines to rule out the death penalty as punishment if Kohberger is found guilty. May 15th, and this was the last pretrial hearing, Hippler says jury selection is expected to begin on July 30th, with the trial's opening statement starting on August 11th. He says the trial will be held from 8:45 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, and jurors may be sequestered, at least through deliberations and, if needed, a penalty phase. And that's where we are in this case. I will go ahead and pull up that last photo. And here is that last selfie that he took. And this is to be believed after the killings. He showered, giving a thumbs up, bushy eyebrows. Let's go. We got trial starting in August, and I couldn't be more excited. 3 months long. Sounds crazy, but we got to get justice for this family and justice for these victims. If you like this video and you like this content, please give me a thumbs up, follow if you aren't, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.